Welcome back everyone, what's up? This is your boy Legendary here, and today people, we're finally getting back to my Hidden Legend series. Last time I reviewed my main character Osiris Aisu. I went through his backstory, his biography, his deck, and just a little bit about what happened in the first episode. So today I'm finally going to be introducing the main rival to my Hidden Legend series. His name is Ceasar Tyranus. So you know what, let's just hop right into it and talk about it. Alright, so Ceasar Tyranus, he's 19 years old. Ceasar is a loud, hyper-energetic, hot-tempered, and confident person who is very passionate about dueling. Despite his aggressive personality, he's actually a very nice guy who respects people and is willing to step up and defend someone who is being bullied or mistreated. He doesn't start off as the strongest duelist, but is very determined, trains very hard, and doesn't give up. He is a very great guy once people get to know him. Ceasar is very passionate about dueling and aspires to be an amazing duelist. His dad is a well-known paleontologist, and growing up, Ceasar always loved to learn about dinosaurs with his dad. He loves dinosaurs so much that he built his own dinosaur-themed deck and aims to be the strongest dino duelist. Ceasar attended Duel Academy and was far from being the best. He grew very slowly as a duelist but never gave up and kept improving until his final year when he graduated as an Obelisk Blue student. After graduating, he now has to attend Duel College for 1 year to enter into the Pro League. Just like Osiris, during the summer before he entered Duel College, he had a dream in which a mysterious cloaked man speaks to him and states that Ceasar has been chosen to wield a great power. In order to do so, Ceasar has to awaken that power during a duel against him and use that power to defeat him. Ceasar accepts the challenge with excitement. When pushed against a corner, a burning aura surrounds him, and all the cards in his hand and deck are replaced with new cards known as the Jurrac cards. After awakening this power and defeating him in this duel, the man reveals to him that soon he will need to use his power to help fight against a great evil that has reawakened and will soon make his move. When Ceasar woke up from his dream, the Jurrac Deck was in his hand. During his Duel Academy days, Ceasar uses a dinosaur deck. His primary strategy is to overcome his opponent with high attack point monsters. In the first episode, after he completes a challenge by defeating a mysterious duelist, he obtains a new deck known as the Jurrac Deck. This new deck is a pure fire attribute dinosaur archetype. Therefore, he decides to put down his old cards but still kept some of his generic dinosaur related support cards from his old deck, while also adding new generic fire related support cards for his Jurrac Deck. The ace monster of his deck is Jurrac Titanos. The Jurrac deck focuses on destroying monsters by battle to trigger advantage building effects and tripling off their own monsters to gain more attack. Ceasar's primary goal in Season 1 is to gain more power and to help Osiris fight against this new upcoming threat. Yo, what up guys, this is your boy Legendary here.
And your boy Fudo Yusei.
And today people, as you guys already saw, we're going to be introducing the main rival to my Hidden Legend series, Ceasar Tyranus. This is his gorgeous Jurrac mat that I made with him right there in the center looking gorgeous.
Nice, yeah.
But yeah, we're super hyped to do his Season 1 deck profile. These are all his Season 1 cards. We even have a little bit of a side deck too for you guys. All these cards I will make available eventually on Dueling Books so everyone can test them out in case if they want to use these Osiris's deck and Ceasar's deck and stuff like that. And you will see Ceasar's deck and Osiris's deck in action against each other, both in a duel video as well as in a stream one day. We'll definitely do that, and we'll just have a lot of fun with it. But yeah.
We will showcase other cards too that they have used that might not, be in the deck profile today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like if
there's
you
a
see
couple
any
extra
cards,
ones.
there's a couple extra ones.
But I'm gonna make a separate video talking about just like how I did the Osiris cards, the Ice Spirit cards, where I reviewed the new cards that I made in a separate video. I'll do the same thing for the Jurracs because I made new cards for the Jurracs as well. You'll see a couple of them in this video, but there's other ones.
Yes. So this is Ceasar Tyrannus's Jurrac deck. Ceasar's deck, his main focus is dinosaurs, fire particularly, and he is a power duelist. So his Season 1, that's all he knows. It's just power. It's literally just straightforward beat down, try to get in your face, focuses on trying to destroy as many monsters as possible by overpowering the opponent through high powered attacks and being able to swarm the field through successfully being able to destroy the opponent's monsters in battle. So here is his monster lineup. We'll start off with the ace and the star of his deck, Jurrac Titano. Then we'll put the other cards after. Jurrac Titano's effect, as you probably don't know, is this card cannot be special summoned. So yeah. But while he's face up on the field, he can't be targeted by monster effects or trap cards. So if you remember Osiris's ace, he pops cards by targeting them, so he can't kill this ace by the effect.
So it's a good counter to it, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, kind of like a opposite, of the main character's ace, where, he can't really kill this unless he overpowers it through battle. So yeah. Also, he powers himself up, so once per turn you could banish one Jurrac monster from your graveyard, and he'll gain 1,000 attack until the end of the turn. So he becomes an instant 4,000. So like I said, it's just a powerhouse of a card. And Ceasar has a few cards that allows him to get around that whole cannot be special summoned, which you will see very soon. His other power cards in the main deck are Jurrac Spinos and Jurrac Tyrannus. So Jurrac Spinos and Jurrac Titanos add a little more oomph into his deck, where Jurrac Spinos allows you to special summon a token to your opponent's side of the field if you successfully destroyed an opponent's monster by battle, whereas Tyrannus, Jurrac Tyrannus can gain attack, through either by battle or by tributing a monster. So it kind of complements Jurrac Titano as a boss monster. He has sub-buff boss monsters, I guess, in his deck that allow him to be able to apply more pressure. And again, you'll see that there's other cards that allow him to special summon these big hitters, such as Jurrac Deck. It's an anime card that we made for him. And this card's effect is you can banish it from the graveyard and then reveal one level 5 or higher monster from your hand, and then you can normal summon that revealed monster without tribute. So literally you can summon any of these 3 monsters without tributing if this card is in the graveyard, which is really helpful because getting these monsters out early helps in applying pressure with his deck, as you will see. Then we have 2 other cards, Jurrac Kaiba and Jurrac Velo. Jurrac Kaiba allows you to just completely kill a monster. When it battles, you kill a monster special summon another 17 or lower Jurrac. Whereas Jurrac Velo, when he's destroyed by battle, whether he attacks or is attacked, you get to special summon a Jurrac monster with 1,700 or less attack. We made an anime effect for him where instead of it being limited to being in attack position, it's just whenever he's destroyed by battle, whether he attacks or is attacked, you special summon, and it's not restricted by battle position. So that's a good thing. Then we have some good tribute fodder producers. We have Jurracs. I don't even know how to say that name, but these guys just really good. They allow you to bring out tokens when they're destroyed. 2 of them to be able to tribute summon, or what you'll see later, synchro summon. Then we have Jurrac Hera, another good card. He's a floater, which allows you to special summon himself. When a Jurrac monster in defense position you control is destroyed by battle. Then I added a few other cards. We have Jurek Petra and Jurrac Protops. Jurek Petra is just a generic, monster. It allows you to bounce a monster back to the hand if a monster attacked into it. But it also has that effect where it gains defense equal to the level of the monster that it returned. So if that monster failed to destroy him in battle, he'll gain that defense and it'll be even harder to get over him. And then Protops just gains 100 attack for every monster your opponent controls. And then we have some non-Jurrac monsters in this deck, but they are fire. We have Fencing Fire Ferret, pretty good card. We have a little hand trap, Master Craftsman Gamil, and Flame Ruler, which is tribute fodder. He treats himself as 2 monsters for tribute summon, which is good for those early boss monsters that we got. And now we have some tuner monsters. We have Jurek Elio, Jurrac Monoloth, and Jurrac Dino. These cards are really good. Jurrac Alio and Dino specifically. This card allows you to generate some good draw power. And we also gave this card an anime effect of our own. So instead of being able to draw the 2 cards during the end phase, you can literally just draw the 2 cards the moment a monster is destroyed by battle, this turn. You could just tribute a Jurrac monster and draw 2 cards. And Jurrac Monoloth just allows you to attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. It's really, it doesn't always work because he's a, 15k, but with all the power boost cards that, Ceasar has in his deck, it is possible to be able to go through that effect. Then we have 2 more tuners. We have Jurrac Gallon. We also gave it another anime effect, where when it's destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you just destroy the monsters that destroyed it. So there's no drawback. This effect, your opponent could discard a card to negate this effect, but the anime effect that we gave it, you just pop that monster, which is good because it helps with his deck. And then finally for the tuners, we have 2 Jurrac Brackies. And this is like, I guess, his little wall. If he has 2 of them on the field, your opponent can't kill them in battle. So that's pretty good. And they're tuners, so it helps with synchro summoning some of his synchro monsters. Now we're going to move on to the spell cards. And the spells we have Fossil Dig, Shrink, and Twin Twisters. It's pretty straight, This card allows you to search any of the level 6 or lower dinosaur monsters, so that's good. And the other cards are pretty generic. Then we have Monster Reincarnation, Molten Destruction, and Double Evolution Pill. I really like Double Evolution Pill because it allows you to be able to special summon his ace from the hand or deck without ignoring his summoning conditions, so that's really good. And since he does have a few monsters that aren't dinosaurs, this card actually works. And Monster Reincarnation really helps if you need to get that ace monster back to your hand to be able to resummon it again, so that's good. And then just generic power for fire monsters. Now we move into some of the anime cards. We have Majesty of Fire, which if you control the monsters, you special summon a level 5 or higher fire monster from your hand. We have Blasting Vein. You could destroy 1 set spell or trap card you control to draw 2 cards, which later I will show you some of the combos that you could do with certain of these cards. And we have Bonfire, which is generic. It's like Rhoda for fire monsters. You just add a level 4 lower fire monster from your deck to your hand. Then we have some specific new anime cards that my boy Legendary was explaining. We have Jurrac Draw. Jurrac Draw, you're allowed to, you can send one Jurrac monster from your hand or face up on your field, to the graveyard to draw 2 cards. And you can only activate 1 of these per turn, but he pretty much only has 1. But yeah, so it's a pretty good card because you're allowed to set up your graveyard and then draw 2 cards. Then we have Jurrac Call. This card is pretty cool because it says when this card is activated, you inflict 500 points of damage to your opponent. So right off the bat, you inflict 500. Then you can special summon 1 level 4 or lower Jurrac monster from your hand. And then it has another effect where you can tribute 1 face of Jurrac monster you control, and then you can normal summon 1 level 5 or higher Jurrac monster without tributing. So that helps with his beaters, being able to bring them out a lot easier, especially his ace if that's what you're going for. And then if this card is destroyed, you can add 1 Jurrac monster from your deck to your hand. And you can only activate each of these effects once per turn. So it's really good. It has a floater effect. It has an on activation effect. It's really good. And then finally we have one of his Ace's signature moves cards. I believe is either his effect or attack. Titanos Stomping Eruption. His effect is you can equip only 2 his Ace. So Jurrac Titanos is the only one that can be equipped to this card. And if the equipped monster, pretty much activates his effect to banish to gain 1,000 attack, you gain the attack of the banished monster instead. So that's huge because then you could really increase the attack of your ace and really deal a lot of damage. And then if the equipped monster attacks an opponent's monster and sends it to the graveyard, you can send all other monsters your opponent controls to the graveyard. But then other monsters you control cannot declare an attack during the turn you activate this effect. So it's really strong because it helps board wipe, and it also gives Jurrac Titanos Ace an extra length of power, so it's really good. And now we move on to the trap cards. So Ceasar doesn't run a lot of traps in his decks. He does have a lot of arsenal traps, but he doesn't run a lot. A lot of the times his deck is more spell oriented, but he does run a few good trap cards. So, and you will see he has Threatening Roar, Jurrac Impact, and Call of the Haunted. Jurrac Impact is like amazing because it just board wipes everything. You just have to make sure you have a monster with 2,500 attack or more. And it just destroy all cards on the field, so it kind of resets the board in a sense. So it's pretty cool. Then we have two other cards. We have Survival of the Fittest and Proof of Powerlessness. These cards are pretty cool. One allows you to board wipe your opponent's field, well, monsters at least, that are lower than the level of the monster you have, but it's pretty cool. And this is a good card too, which I'll explain later with the combos and stuff. Then we have some anime cards. One of them being Jurrac Resurrection. Jurrac Resurrection is literally made for Jurrac Titano, but you can, use it for any other card. But its effect is you can discard one card from your hand, then you target one Jurrac monster in your graveyard and special summon that target, ignoring its summoning condition. So you could bring back your ace with that. And then if you do, it gains 500 attack. And then, it has the whole, if it leaves the field, destroy the monster. If the monster is destroyed, destroy this card. So, pretty good revival card. And then we have two more traps. We have Firewall, which is a good defensive card for him. When your opponent declares an attack, you can send one fire monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard to negate, and then, negate that monster's attack. And then you can activate this effect twice per turn. So, it's pretty cool because you can set up your graveyard and kind of stall out a bit, but then you pay 500 life points during each of your standby phase, and if you can, you destroy this card. So it has like a downside, I guess, in a way. You gotta balance it. And last we have Fire Trap, which is a good counter trap card. A lot of Caesar's, like a few of Caesar's anime cards, come from the character from GX, Axel Brody. So you'll notice some of these cards that are in his deck as well, so it's pretty cool. This is just a generic negate that negates anything that would pop a spell or trap, spell or trap card or cards you control. So that's pretty cool. And now we move on to the Synchro Monsters in his deck, or in this case, his extra deck. And for his extra deck, he doesn't have a lot in Season 1. Like later in the season, he has more, but for Season 1, he doesn't really have much. So we have Jurek Meteor, which is literally a board wipe. Like the moment you synchro summon it, you destroy all cards on the field, and then you special summon a Jurek tuner. You special summon a tuner monster from your graveyard, so it gives you at least one card. So we have Jurek Giganato and Jurek Velfido. This card, we made an anime effect of it. I don't remember it right now, but it would be put up when Legendary puts it up. But yeah, these are his extra deck monsters. And then we have two custom extra deck monsters. We have Genosaurus, which we gave I guess an anime effect of it.
We changed the
effect. So
well, yeah.
The effect is you can detach two Xyz materials from this card, and then special summon two level 4 fire dinosaur monsters from your graveyard. But you cannot activate monster effects for the rest of this turn except fire monsters, which is literally his entire deck. And then if this Xyz summoned card is sent to the graveyard, you can destroy one face-up monster on the field. So that's pretty cool. It allows you to kind of swarm in a little bit on the field, as well as pop something if it leaves the field. So it's a pretty good card. And then lastly, we have a nice defensive synchro monster, which is Jurek Max Stego. And this card is, if this card is synchro summoned, you could special summon one level 3 or lower Jurek monster from your deck And if you do, you can treat it as a level 1 monster. If your opponent declares an attack while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card and face a defense position. And if you do, your opponent must attack this card. Also, this card cannot be destroyed by that battle. If summoned this way, banish it when it leaves the field. So it's a 3000 defense, body. So it's gonna be pretty hard to get over that. So yeah. And then we have some nice little, Jurrac tokens for those who, And yeah, so that's his deck. I'll talk about some combos after I show you the side deck. So the side deck, we have one monster. We would have more, but for now, this is what we got. Jurek Iguanin, straightforward. Then we have, for spells, we have Big Evolution Pill, Megamorph, and Heatwave. We also have Ryuryoku, Circle of the Fire Kings, and Foolish Burial. And lastly, we have Tail Whip and an enemy card, Engulfed by Flames. So this card is send one fire monster from your hand or field to the graveyard to target one face monster your opponent controls, negate its effects until the end phase. So that's a good way to stop certain monster effects from going off. Like, you can kind of be smart and wait until they pay the cost and then chain this and then boom, negate the effect, and now they went minus or something like that. That's the spell cards for the side deck. And then for the trap cards, we have Option Hunter, a form of gaining life points. We have Strike Slash and Chaos Burst, some good defensive traps. And then we have Ascension Trap Hole, Overwhelm, and Damage Gate. And these are just generic trap cards, some trap cards that work really well in this deck. Alright, now for some combos. Alright, so as you guys noticed with his deck is really wants to bring out big beaters. It really wants to swarm the field and try to overpower the opponent. So one of the ways that you can get to do this, so let's start off with some basic ace monster shenanigans. So Jurek Titano, you have a few ways to being able to bring it out. You have a ruler, you have two of these guys to help you, swarm the field and bring that card out. And then you also have Double Evolution Pill, which also helps you bring it out. And you have Jurek Call as well. And you could also have a way to dump it to the graveyard by means of Jurek Resurrection. And so it really helps because you really want to get this guy out, or any of the other big beaters, but mainly, Jurek Titano you want to bring out to be, to start punishing the opponent, and these guys you could bring out a lot easier than your ace, but because they're not restricted with the whole cannot be special summoned, so you could use cards like Majesty of Fire and all the other cards that were mentioned to summon Jurek Titano, so they got that extra, card to bring out stuff. Some other cool combos that you can do with this deck, a way to generate plus, I guess, in this deck is by using Jurek Guaiba and Survival of the Fittest. This combo is really good because it allows him to kill two monsters, and because his effect is not once per turn, if you kill two monsters, you're allowed to special summon two monsters with 17 or less attack. So you can literally swarm the field with either these little guys, or you can bring out some tuner monsters to synchro for some of your level 3 monster plays. So it's a really good combo in the deck that you can go for. Another way to do it is being able to bring out monsters during your opponent's turn by way of shrink, decreasing your opponent's monster's attack. You can also power him up with Craftsman. He does run 2 of these in the deck, so I just decided to put 1, but you can add another one. He does have 2 Guaiba in the deck, and he does have 2 Velo, I believe. But he does have 2 Guaiba, I know that for sure. So you guys can definitely up him to 2 to up the consistency, of the deck. Another way you can combo off with this guy as well is by generating more plus is Jurrac Dino, and if you're using the anime effect that we gave him, you don't have to wait till the end of the turn to draw the 2 cards if you end up killing something in battle. So this is really good in combination with this card, because if you can bump him up with cards like, Survival of the Fittest, or, Shrink, or Gamil, or any of the other cards, you can really, just gain a bunch of advantage and plus. So the strengths of this deck is obvious. It just has a lot of ways to bum rush the opponent. Sure, you may think 17 attacks is not that big, but with all the other cards that you see here, it gets annoying after a while to deal with. So you will see that it does do a lot. Also, because you're also swarming the field on top of being able to with cards like Guaiba and Velo and other cards like that, you a lot of the times, even when you have one monster and stuff, sometimes it's very hard to deal with because their attack is too big. But as you can see, one of the weaknesses to this deck is that it's just very straightforward. It's just all power. All it does is just gets over your opponent's monsters. It just tries to go hard. It tries to generate some advantage by way of drawing multiple cards when it destroys monsters in battle, or swarming the field with monsters through effects, or getting, decreasing or depleting your opponent's advantage by way of destroying their, monsters and stuff through effects or by battle. But it's really straightforward. So it's really easy to counter it. If you're a control player and you do get the setup, you'll be able to counter this deck really hard. But other than that, it's really strong. It's very consistent, and with the other extra cards that Legendary will be showing you guys very soon, you will see that this deck gets a little more bonkers. And this is just season 1, guys. So if you were to see season 2 and 3, his deck goes crazier. But as well as all the other characters. But this is season 1 Ceasar Tyranus' deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is I was super hyped for this video because I really wanted to make this character deck profile. So we risked it. We were you know what, screw the COVID-19, we'll burn it. So yeah, so this is the deck profile for Ceasar Tyranus. I hope you guys enjoyed.
Alright guys, see you guys in the next video. God bless you guys. Catch you next time.
Riding Duel, acceleration!
Gotcha!